G'day, Paul here with the Business of Art, where creativity and commerce come together. Today we are chatting with James Elliot.
Hello.
James is the founder of the Brisbane Treasure Hunt Society and is actually creating a site-specific treasure hunt for a theatre show that I'm running very soon. So we thought while we're here having a look around the space, we'd have a chat about his business. So let's do that.
Alrighty.
This is the Business of Art. James, good to have you here. Thanks for coming on the Business of Art.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's very exciting and I'm feeling very energized.
Yep, good recording the audio. I just thought, I better check. I have made that mistake before. So tell us a little bit about the Brisbane Treasure Hunt Society. What is it? What are you doing with it? What's the goal? What are you doing?
Cool. Oh, that's a great question. I'm figuring that out every day. Essentially, I just wanted to make treasure maps because I've loved the idea of a treasure map all through my life, all since being a kid. And one day, just sort of, well, it was over about a week maybe, just sort of have been doing a few entrepreneurial things throughout my 20s, and so was always on that mindset. I'm 29.
Such a baby.
29 years young, Paul.
Love it.
And so, yeah, all different, like putting my fingers in different pies around the place. And then, yeah, one day it was like, I love treasure maps. I just went on a really nice little experience. It was a date with a partner of mine at the time.
Yep.
And thought, oh, this is just so lovely. Wouldn't it be fun if there were puzzles linking the two locations, and then maybe I could give that experience to people via puzzles. And then I was like, oh yeah, the puzzles motivate them to buy the product, and essentially it's just a nice date night that's been curated, and I was like, that's a treasure map right there.
Brilliant.
And I can see a niche and how to follow it, and that's what I want to do. Like,
love it.
That's where I'm at.
Is that what kicked off the whole concept of the Treasure Hunt Society? Was that?
Yeah. So I hit that. So what I tend to do, it seems creatively, is have a flurry of sort of ideas and thoughts and put them out into the world, and then the world sort of changes them and shapes them and
always
tells me, it's like, it's not that, but it's something else.
Yeah.
And so it started off as Brisbane Explorers.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just a business that was, I always had the idea of the society aspect to it, but it was like, this is just a group of people or anyone who wants to do a treasure hunt. So, and it was called Brisbane Explorers, but when I went to register the name, this is maybe 3 months after I'd started selling and done on my Facebook and built a website and everything. It's like, I better register that.
Yeah.
Brisbane Explorer is already a tour bus that runs around the city.
Of course.
And it's too close to that.
Yeah.
So they were like, meow, meow. I was like, Yeah.
So I think there's a valuable lesson in that. Always check first. If you're coming up with a business name, always check first. I've got a whole range of domain names that I own because I went, that would be a really great idea.
Don't get me started on
no one owns
names.
it.
Don't get me started on domain names. And you owned
Yeah.
So I went to register a domain name recently, actually, fictionalreality.com.
Yep.
Because I have a podcast, Fictional Reality, which I'd love to have you on sometime as well.
That'd be amazing, yeah.
And someone's already bought the domain because it's good. They're good words to go together.
No, it's really
and they're
great.
like $2,000 or $2,500 for that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
You're holding my domain hostage.
Yeah, well, look, there's actually a really viable business in buying domain names and flipping them.
Look, totally. Yeah, and
huge.
you know what? Power to the market for it. But
just thinking of it quicker than we did. So
that's when I vowed, Paul. I made a vow. I'm going to buy that domain name. And so I'm going to build my business to get to that point. Where
Love it.
You want that $2,000? Boom, here it is.
There it is.
Oh,
it's
sorry,
only two. That's all right.
Where are we going from there? So
Cool.
The other valuable lesson also is that because I was made, I've got to think of a different name. And I'd been running it for 6 months already. I already had these ideas about where I wanted it to go. I wanted a community aspect. I want to engage people in narrative and explore and learn about the city. In these tourist sector, like educational sector, adventure seeker, hobby date sector as well.
Right.
I was like, I want to make a society, a not-so-secret society.
Love it.
And so when it came time, I have to think of a new name, it was already sort of bubbling there, and I was like, no, let's make this Brisbane Treasure Hunt Society that operates as that, but has commerce elements to it.
Yeah, cool. So was it always the idea to create a business out of it, or was it, I started doing this because it was a bit of fun, and then I realised there was a potential income that could be generated from it? What was
Yeah.
the thinking? What was the line of thought that led to that?
Well, I really enjoy this like exchange of value for like it's money, but it's also like, well, if I can give you something valuable, you can give me what I need to like sort of stay alive. That's getting maybe a level too deep, but
Treasure hunt for we'll treasure hunt for food. Yeah.
And so I'm always, when I look at something of like, oh, what, how much does that cost versus how much would someone pay for it? So, in my early 20s, I made fudge and sold it at the guitar shop I worked at.
Love it.
And then I saw coffee in a beer bottle one day and was like, that's cold brew. Someone made cold brew coffee. And it just seemed very natural to be like, the bottle is cheap, the coffee is cheap, but the coffee in the beer bottle hits this like alcohol coffee consumer. And that they're going to love that as an aesthetic. And I just thought, so I would think like that when I saw something that maybe go, oh, that's cool. And before I knew it, I was selling coffee at the markets.
Brilliant.
And so when this idea came along, it was like, how much would the paper cost me? And then the next question is, how much would people pay for the experience? And just ask those questions. So I sort of couldn't help but make a business out of it. I seem to be geared in that direction.
Brilliant. Yeah. Love it. So what's the plan? What's the
plan?
What's the idea?
I had wild ambitions at the start of making Brisbane the hidden city, the home of the treasure hunt concept.
Yes.
In the same way that some recreational activities become concepts. Axe throwing is like a concept.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going to go and do axe throwing. We're going to go and do a treasure hunt, and then I wanted to be the one that created the treasure map.
You want to be the mayor of Treasure Hunt Town.
Yeah, so to speak.
I think it's important. You should appoint yourself mayor of Treasure Hunt Town.
I have done that.
Good. Okay, great.
And, it's been fun trying to find someone doing exactly the same thing because the other things are close, and I'm sure someone is, but mine is of trying to needle a very specific image and then call that mine.
Yeah.
So there are treasure hunt companies, but they don't incorporate a treasure map per se. They might use a smartphone and it's clues and it's different things. Or there might be a treasure map, but it doesn't have this society aspect to it. So I'm just like, I'm very specific. The Brisbane Treasure Hunt Society. Grow out. Maybe there's a model that can be expanded to other cities.
I think, I like that as an idea. And that's the thing that comes to my mind is that sense of, it's a great idea, and it's not my phrase, but it's a phrase that I've adopted, which is, if you want to be the biggest band in the world, you first have to be the biggest band in your hometown.
Absolutely.
And I think if you centralise that and really, it's the same thing that I'm doing with the theatre shows at the moment, where rather than trying to appeal to the whole city, I'm actually looking to appeal to the 24 suburbs around this venue where we're producing.
Absolutely.
And going local and really hitting that, because then I can really localise and sort of focus the marketing dollars and focus the advertising, and then get local businesses who might be interested in getting in front of that same local audience. And I think for what you're doing, I think if you can get this kind of idea and document the process along the way around Brisbane, well, then you've got a model that you can syndicate essentially and pick up the model and drop it in another city or another town. And you might not even need to know the town or the city. It could be something that you franchise to other people who can pick up the model and then go do it in their city. And then you could create income through a subscription or a franchise kind of model. It's a very exciting kind of idea.
There's some
really
nice scope there, and I do tend to. So I started on the outside in with the image, and something that has been really nice, and especially recently, as I've been, like I was talking to you earlier, my customer base are people I know personally through other means.
Yep.
And that's fine. Like, instead of being like, I want this, it's like, no, start with your friends. And my perspective changed. I was like, all I have to do is make experiences for my friends, and my friends are going to be contacting me to pay me, and then that is going to move in these outward circles.
Yeah, I think that's a really good test too. I mean, you hear all the time businesses and startups being told to, use your family and friends as a starting point. And I think for me, it's a good challenge because we're always really, I personally think that we are wanting to make sure that if we're hitting our friends and family up, that we don't feel like we're scabbing off them and that we're begging them for money. So I think from that point of view, it's a good thing to build courage to actually ask. I think I think it also puts you in the mindset of, I want to make sure that this is worth it for them because they're my friend.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing too is that our friends are often the ones who will be happy to come and do stuff for us. But the minute we ask them for money to do that, they're less inclined to do it. And if you can sell to your friends and they're interested in going, no, actually, I'm willing to fork over my cash for that, I think you've really hit onto something that is going to be great. And that gives you a really great opportunity to test your market, to test what you're doing. I think it's great. So you've got your friends doing these and they're actually paying you for them at the moment?
Well, this is the thing. So there's a bit of a grey area with the payment side at the moment, because my perspective is the product should add value.
Yes.
It's not something that you're convincing people to give you money for and you get the money because you successfully convince them. It's because the thing will add value to their experience or to their life. Theatre is exactly like that. It's a little 2-hour experience. So my perspective is, I want to just, one, make puzzles for my friends, like just random ones for free and all that, make them all the time. And I don't specifically sell to my friends, but some of them, especially not my close circle, but the circle just outside of that,
your friends
are the ones that are willing to pay me.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
great.
And so word is starting to get out to that direct friend, but maybe haven't spoken to in a while.
Love it.
And they go, well, the distance is enough that I'll pay. Whereas my closer friends are like, I'm around you all the time.
Yeah. And I think that's fair. I mean, and you're using them to test your product.
Those ones get the free stuff.
Yeah.
And then they tell the friend of a friend and the friend of a friend.
That's it. Word of mouth is so important. So cool.
And so that's really liberating for me, because it doesn't put me in this, well, I'll only do it for money mind frame. It puts me in this, oh, here's a cool little thing I could do. Well, housemate comes home, hey, here's a thing.
Love it.
And
I think you're in the right mindset. I think that sense of providing value first and always is important, because it's just the thing that you're giving before you're taking, and that's
right.
That's always a better model, always.
And what do I do as a consumer, especially on online video content? I don't think I've ever paid for any video educational content outside of a few things here or there. But there's people giving value, adding value all the time. So there's, I don't know, sometimes there's a bit of an expectation as the consumer. It's like, well, look at all these other people giving all this free stuff away. Why should I buy something off you? Yeah. And it's like, well, you don't have to. Here's a bloody free thing. Go and do it. It's at 7 Hills.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, no, you go.
No, I was just going to ask a question. What were you going to say?
I had a question, but it flew away as soon as I realised I interrupted you.
We're both too polite. I love it. So, for you, at the moment, where's the business at? What are you trying to achieve? What's the structure right now? What are you doing right now? What's the actual mechanism of the business? How does that work?
Cool. So at the moment, I am following, having conversations like this with people that sort of generate projects. So specifically now, I'm making this treasure hunt. I have a treasure hunt for a husband and wife to be. They're doing a conjoined date night, hens night party, and they're very competitive. So
nice.
I'm making a treasure hunt that's going to play on that. It's called Lovesick, a competitive game for lovebirds.
Awesome.
And it's got this medical theme where they have to stop the love sickness by getting immunity shots. And guess what the shots are? Liqueur.
Of course!
So I'm working on that.
Brilliant.
And that is a model that actually is sustainable. So it's simple enough that I can actually create it and hire a facilitator if need be, but if not, there's a bit more margin there. And the cost is fair for everyone. Well, it feels that way. Everyone's been on board with it. I take a design fee.
Yep.
And then I charge per head.
Yep.
And there's some margin per head for me. So that's like, you want more people? Great. It
just a little bit extra in the coffers for you for the future. Yeah, that's great.
Otherwise, what I found with people it would go from 10 people to 50 people, and I'm getting the same amount, and it was all this extra work. So
I think that's really good thinking.
Price per head, and so those two fees together make it viable product.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to host, or to be able to sell 1 or 2 would be incredible, a month of these treasure hunts.
Yep.
And they're reasonably simple. Once they're set up, and all you buy from me is a big medical cabinet and the kit.
Yeah. Cool. So somebody would, so this one particular, for instance, the places that you go, the things that you do, that's all preset, and what you're actually purchasing is the medical kit that contains the instructions and
the
tell
rules.
me about what's in that.
So in that will be a treasure map, and it'll be like biohazard themed. And in there is you have to find 5 locations and 5 venues.
Yep.
At the location, there's a bit of information. Still wondering what that's going to be. I'm honing in on this plaque idea, so maybe something like that. 5 locations that give you a code to a padlock, and then 5 venues where you get a shot when you say something to the bartender.
Cool.
Throughout,
you're actually driving traffic to other businesses as well through this.
Yeah.
So are you getting any kind of sponsorship from those businesses, or is that something that's on your radar for the future?
From in the future.
Cool.
I'm at the phase now where I'm still going
just trying
in and
to
asking.
make it. Yeah, great.
Just so I'll buy drinks vouchers and be like, look, I've got a scavenger hunt coming in, 20 people at this time. You're going to pour them a shot of Midori or something.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. There's a symptoms packet, or there's a first aid kit with it. So there's the big medical box.
Yep.
That's the treasure box that you're trying to get into. Inside there is the cure for love sickness. And then there's a little first aid kit for each team. So in there is bandages and band-aids and rubber gloves and props and stuff that they can all adorn. And there's all these challenges they have to accomplish and upload to Instagram while they go around doing this that gets them extra points. So,
social aspect as well. Genius.
Yeah. So
great work.
That's going to be something I run. It's like, cool, I sell 1 or 2 of them a month. Do that.
Oh, so you'll host that?
You don't even really need to host
You don't need it?
No.
Cool.
All I would have to do is phone the 5 bars and say, hey, look, we've got a group coming through. Yeah. And get a good relationship going, and it's just as simple. This weekend it's going down. So there's that. I've gotten into a little bit more of a game facilitation aspect of my thing by my partner, my business partner, Jack. We do stuff together, even though we have our own separate businesses, but we collaborate a lot. So
what's his business?
His Half Monster Games.
Right. Okay, yep.
So we're working on the Great Goma Art Heist.
Yep. Awesome.
That's a game that is 2 teams at Goma who, when they found out about this, were like, yeah, do it. Just don't hassle anyone, and it's fine. Detectives and art thieves, and the art thieves have to draw the art at Goma to successfully be a thief.
Yep.
And the detectives have to catch them doing it and arrest them.
Brilliant.
So we're selling that, and that, do one of them a month or a fortnight, and then the last project to be able to make a livable income off this business is The Frontier, a Wild Western gamified LARP experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
awesome.
So I'm trying to get those so I can just be a cowboy once a month, an art thief once a month, and a hopeless romantic all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
So is the idea in time that you'll be able to essentially sell these as packs that people just go and do without the need for you to be involved?
That would be great. Yeah, I set them up and do them long enough, and someone comes along and I'm like, hey, you're in charge of this.
So I guess the question is that idea of, will they always need a facilitator?
The goal is no.
Yeah.
The goal is you buy them, and there's just this one little element that needs facilitation, which can be done just over the phone or an email, which is if they want to go to a venue or it's something specific to the night or something, you have to make a phone call somewhere and let people know.
Yeah. Well, see, I would think that there would be my brain's already going into how to automate. And so I think if you had an activation code that the morning of or the day before or whatever, if there was an activation code that they can't start anything, like there might be, for instance, a code on this box that's locked. And yes, they could cut the padlock off if they wanted.
Yeah.
But in order to make it work, written on the front is, in order to kick this off, you need to use this activation code, which could be something that goes onto your website, and it's an activation code that then triggers automated emails to your vendors, to your bars, that says,
that's brilliant.
This date is coming, this treasure hunt has been initiated, and within 24 hours you should see these people. So that way they go to a portal that kicks off the treasure hunt for them, and it automatically just sends an email to all of the vendors involved.
That would be ideal.
I think
that's
down
a level of, because automation was also my kicker for when going into it. I was like, I can see how they could be automated by gamifying them. So that even that process, having that automated, so you can still have that value of interacting with a human, which just needs to be set up by someone, or ideally, the human is always playing, Paul. And you say to the bar, it's like people may come, they may not, maybe tomorrow, maybe 3 weeks from now. When they say this, give them this.
Well,
And they're
I
like,
think
I'm your guy.
that's ultimately the thing for me is, I mean, I'm thinking kind of in the current state.
Right.
Yes, while you're still going in and talking to bars directly, but ultimately it is about building that long-term relationship with those vendors that they know at any point that they might have someone come in and everybody in the staff, and you might go in and have to deliver some staff training or have a video that you create that all of their staff have to watch to explain what's going on. So that way again you don't have to physically go in. And again, you could house them on a YouTube channel, and then if you get another vendor, and again, this sense of syndicating it, how could you package this up for somebody who can then take this and do it themselves in their own town if you were going to sell it, or if you were going to go, okay, we've done Brisbane, now we're going to go down and do Melbourne, but I don't live in Melbourne, but I'm going to go down and I'm going to build relationships with a few vendors down there, and then, this video is then live, and you go, okay, great, we've got you on board. Here's an email that says, thanks for coming on board. Here's how it works. Here are a training video for your staff, that kind of thing. So from that point of view.
That's awesome. I see that as that's a great picture, a great goal to work toward. Because that's ultimately, like, I will be that. That's my job. That's what I would love, Paul.
That's it.
Is just go to cities and start little...
Absolutely. You're going in, you're scoping out the city, you're essentially getting paid by your business to go travel all around the country, all around the world, and create treasure hunts in cities. And I think, from a sense of activating space, arts funding bodies, council funding bodies, community funding bodies will all be really interested in the outcomes of this. So I'll go back for a second to the relationships, because I was thinking down that line of, ultimately what would be great is that you have that long-term relationship with a vendor who is paying you to be a part of the treasure hunt.
That's right.
Because it's marketing for them.
Yeah.
You're physically driving traffic to their business, and so that's of value for them. So whether you have, whether you're paying, well, you would think probably then the drinks are free. It's, from a marketing point of view, it's incorporated that they commit to, the drinks, or maybe membership to you. You'd have to work that out, but that'll be that long-term thing of...
Do I have it on? No, I don't have my lapel pin. Not to worry. That's like where I want to get the brand awareness to be. At the moment, it's interesting. This Great Goma heist was a really good example. We put the thing up, and it went, I guess, a little bit viral. Yeah, a little bit big.
I saw the stuff online. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. So for some reason, like 3,500 people have clicked interested or going.
Brilliant.
And so it's just tapped into some weird little
it's the start.
Now, Goma then came to us and were like, they want to leverage that.
Absolutely.
And so they were immediately on board. They just had a few things like, don't disrupt anyone. What is it? And all this. But it was like a bit of a change for me, because I've been used to having to work to get that to that level, because I don't have the popular vote behind me.
Yep.
And I've said to people, like, I'm going to be bringing people into your bar, like free customers. Just all you need to do is make a cocktail like you're a bartender. And I wasn't like that, but in my head, I'm like, I'm trying to add value.
I'm trying to bring you business.
And the answer was, we don't need 2 people a week. And I was like, ouch, but fair. All right. That's... So get the people in first.
Yes.
And then the businesses come to you.
Yeah. And I think it's that whole sense of today's world is about leveraging attention. It is.
Totally.
That's what it is.
Absolutely.
So,
that's why I'm always grateful for it when I get it.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I make content and I realize I'm going into this 2-minute mark, I'm like, if you're still listening, like, thank you. There's a lot better stuff out there.
Yeah. You do good stuff, man. You do good stuff.
Thanks. That's why I've been trying to film, give people these free treasure hunt ideas.
Yeah, I love it.
It's like, maybe you didn't think of this, so here's the little thing, do it.
Cool. Well,
and then tag me.
Give us one now. What's a really simple treasure hunt that someone could make really quickly and really easily? What's one of the simplest types of treasure hunts that you know of?
Easy. This is a really fun one. I've been trying to think of what to call it. I've called it the lost item treasure hunt.
Okay.
So you go into your house. Very simply, you have couple of different rooms in the house. What I did when I made this, there's a video on my Instagram. If you want to check that out, that's at Brisbane Treasure Hunt Society.
I'll link that up in all the descriptions below.
There's a little picture of some buttons. Click that in the highlights. This is this idea. It's the 10-minute treasure hunt.
Love it.
And I had 4 buttons, 4 just plain coloured buttons, and 4 household items. The only rule with the items is they have to be site specific. So a spoon from the kitchen, a trowel from the garden, a capo from the guitar, and a beard shaving thing.
Okay.
So you put the beard shaving thing on the kitchen counter and the button next to it, and then that tells the person, like, where's the home of this item? If this item's lost, take it back to its home. By taking it back to its home, you find the next item.
So that might be
the trowel.
The trowel with the button beside it.
Yes.
So the button indicates this is the thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then you can do that with as many items and buttons as you want, and it takes people all around the house. But the leap they have to make is, where does this item belong?
Yeah.
So you can see how you could play on that as well.
Be great for kids.
Great for kids.
Great for kids.
I did it with 5 steps, and then I added a layer of complexity because I just had the stuff and knew how to do it. I added some playing cards in there that they collected at each side as well, and the playing cards gave them a combination to a lockbox.
Brilliant.
So it's just a really simple foundation. It's just a lost item. So the item only has to live in a certain place in the house that everyone knows about.
Yep.
The person who played it at my house didn't even live there,
but they worked it out.
They worked it out.
Most things have a generic place that they live, so
that's
a
right.
spoon generally always lives in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
cool.
Maybe an iPhone would be a bit of a harder one.
Yeah, but that might be.
Is it where it's charged or so on?
Love it.
So yeah, do that. Try it. If
Great.
you try it and take a photo of it, let me know, because I would love to see other people who have new ideas and
That's cool.
ways to change it. But that's very simple. You can set it up in 10 minutes. The end goal is just a pile of lollies hidden somewhere,
Love it. So a little prize at the end.
Absolutely, yeah. The prize is important. Yeah.
So, there you go. Great school holiday activity for kids.
Cool.
Or adults who have childlike behaviours. Yeah. Awesome. So I love what you're doing. I really love what you've created. I'm so jealous about how good it is. Like, seriously. I cannot describe how much I am in love with what you're doing. I think it's fantastic.
You've got a cool thing going on.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that, but I want it all. I want everything, and I love what you're doing. And
well, that's what I'm really glad that we're collaborating together and that you sort of see in parallel.
It's
good.
And from a commercial business perspective, what you're creating as an artist commercially, I think, is just fantastic. And I honestly believe, and I'm happy to go on record right here now and say it, I honestly think that you are creating your future out of this. I mean, potentially the scope that this has is amazing, and I really congratulate you for what you've come up with, what you're working on, the approach that you're taking to it as well. I think it's fantastic, and there's a lot for us all to learn about the steps that you've been through, the following of opportunities and ideas, the ability to pivot and rotate with the idea as you see the shape of it changing, that you're not so fixed that it must be this, And, I mean, I'm very much the same in that.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, I think, in business there's a massive, it's not massive, I don't know why I say massive, but there's a really well-known phrase that in business, what you start out doing is rarely what you end up doing.
Yeah.
And there might be elements of it in there, but in order for it to become really a commercially viable venture, it's going to change.
You want to see where it fits, and you want to try as many things as you can. And I'm aware that I'm at the beginning of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
and I will have a beginning growth mindset probably well into, but it's things come along and you sort of go, well, I did envision it as this, but maybe it could be this. Maybe I could... Oh yeah, maybe, and then this, and all of a sudden, by being open to the opportunity, you're able to adapt and be flexible. So, thank you. I appreciate that. That's some kind words, and I think we have a really nice cross section of that idea of art and commerce, and business isn't a dirty word.
No,
it's like, I see it as a growth tool.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for exponential growth. Like, I think it's important to see a $1 billion idea and put yourself on the trajectory towards it, but my goal is I want it to fund my lifestyle.
Yes.
And my lifestyle, I know where those limits are. So
that's it. I mean, I think that's the thing too is, we always, you get visions as an actor of fame and in business of, the $1 million company. But really that's what it's about. I mean, I can live comfortably on $60,000 a year.
Absolutely, that would be
and
more
that's
than
comfortable.
enough.
I mean, I'm making less than that now in my regular day job because I'm still working a day job, but I can live, I can travel, I can do those sorts of things. If I could get a business that sustained that and a bit more, I mean, really, if you could be making $100,000 a year, which in the scope of business isn't heaps, you can be comfortable and have a really great life with that. You don't have to scale it to $1 million.
No.
I want to.
If you can see the opening, then that's the cool thing.
But
the
it's only
going
to happen doing with what you said, which is about providing value and creating something that people find value in, find enjoyable, and absolutely, that's going to help make it something they want to pay for. So
that's right. You are not. The way I saw it when I sold the maps was I wasn't convincing anyone or tricking anyone.
No.
I was just. It's like some people will want to buy this, and I need those people to understand. It's like you're just clarifying. They're like, "What's this?" And it's like, "This is what the thing is. Do you want to play it?" And it's like, "Yeah."
So the one question I'm going to ask you about, because I really think that. I mean, I'm not big on chasing funding dollars from state government, federal government, all that sort of stuff. I really want my thing to be based in the ability to turn it into a business and commercially make it viable. However, there are opportunities for us as artists to tap into certain funds to help us kickstart some stuff. And I think what you're doing is quite unique. And I think that you would have a better opportunity than, say, I would even with creating theatre. I think with what you're doing. I mean, and the Goma experience, I think, is a really great example of that it's different enough that you're creating an experience that's activating spaces. There is a lot of opportunity that I think you could tap into with some local funding and then, state, then federal and that kind of thing. So definitely keep that in mind, I think. I mean, you might have been thinking... If
anyone wants to come on board and write grants for me and get part funding, then just you're welcome on. Do it. I'm not going to do it because... No. That it's where do you shift your focus? But
absolutely.
I see it as an opening, and I'll let that. Maybe I'll get to it, maybe I won't. But if anyone wants to, they can. It's just not an avenue I'm going to go down.
Oh, cool. I mean, I'm the same. I know that there's probably opportunities for me, but I'm just not interested in chasing handouts. It's a horrible word. It's not. I know that it's vital for some people to get that stuff.
Absolutely.
I just, I personally find that a lot of creators rely on that money more than anything else and feel that that's the only way that they can fund their art. I don't believe it is. I believe, this is a great example that we can actually turn it into a commercial venture if we are finding the right audience for our product. And that's what it comes down to. It's not about just throwing it into the wind and seeing what sticks. It's really about
adapting.
It's really testing, which you're doing, and responding to that kind of that feedback and that sort of thing. And I guess the thing that I was going to ask, just to wrap this up, was in that sense of as it grows and going to businesses and scaling in any kind of sense, what is your current mechanism for review? So you run a treasure hunt.
Great question.
What are you doing at the end of that to kind of look back over it? What worked, what didn't work? What's your current review process of each of those? And what are you documenting around that?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. I call it the emergent review process. And there's probably some more efficient methods of being able to review what does and doesn't stick. But I am moving a little bit by, I get excited by an idea, I create it, I put it out into the world, I get feedback on it, and I do or don't do something about that feedback. A puzzle present is a really good example of that. I recently made this product that I had a vision of being like, this is something I can sell as part of my business. And I have to rework some of the puzzles on it for me to be a bit more satisfied on it. I use that as an excuse to not sell it. And then I see these boxes sitting on my floor that I've gotten made, not making any money, time to be redrafted, and then I'm sort of like, okay, this needs a bit more work. So it just emerges, and I'm like, okay, well, then I schedule it. Okay, I'll do this then. But that's about it. I don't have any, what worked this year and what didn't work.
Yeah, I would really encourage you to think about formalising that process.
Okay.
It's one that I'm putting together a review process and it's just going to be really a one-pager, which is, excuse me, and it can be as simple as, what worked, what didn't work, why, what do I want to improve for next time? I mean, And it's steeped in that because that's actually the process that I developed for both auditioning and for fighting. So one of the things,
interesting.
My hobby is a medieval reenactment, and I fight in that. And I was fighting crown tournaments, and I fought 19 crown tournaments before I won my first tournament, and that's over the span of 20 years. And so I fought 20.
The underdog tale.
Yeah, well, I came second 4 times before I finally won one.
Wow.
And because those tournaments are held every 6 months, that became my measure. That became here's the test of where I'm at. Here's the test of where I'm at. Because you're always fighting very different people from all over the country.
Aha, interesting.
Well, both countries, Australia and New Zealand. So it was always a good test of where I sat amongst the broader spectrum. But what I tend to do after those tournaments, and it's what I do after every single audition, is I look at that and I say to myself, what went well? What didn't go well? Do I know why? So it might be, for an audition, it might be a lack of sleep. It might be I didn't put in the prep work. It might be that I had too fixed an idea on what I wanted to deliver and was not open enough to the director's feedback. It could be anything like that. And try and work out what that is. And then I always go, okay, what's the one thing I want to take away from this to work on for next time? And so it might be, physically being looser and more relaxed because I didn't warm up properly or whatever.
Right.
And
what dictates that review process? When do you start doing that?
The minute I walk out of the audition room.
Immediately?
Yep.
Okay.
Because it's fresh in my mind.
How often, and if I were to, let's say, incorporate this in maybe a bit more of a business or a lifestyle sense, when would I do that?
I think, for me, when do you decide that project is over? Because I think if you
after the invoice has been paid. So,
or it might be before that, but basically I would do it as soon as I can, and I would also incorporate a feedback process with your customer, right?
That's a trick.
It's easy.
Okay.
Set up a Google Doc survey. It's free.
Yeah.
5 questions. Keep it really simple.
Yeah.
And at the end of a process, flick them an email with a link to that survey, and it's specific to that to that particular treasure hunt. So you might have 10 or 15 of them if you've got all these different types of events that you do. So make one specific to that treasure hunt. But also, you can use that then as a way of getting feedback on the vendors that you're engaging with. So from a client perspective, how easy did you find to start the activity? How easy did you find the instructions to follow? How much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much fun did you have? Because that's a big factor in what you're doing. It's got to have a fun factor.
Yeah.
How did you find interacting with the vendors and these places? And it could be just literally on a scale, so that you can get a sense of how are people engaging, how are the bars treating my customers when they come in? Do I need to actually cut one of these bars out because they're not being very polite? And
that's good. That's
really
good
simple.
Stuff.
And Google Doc surveys are free. Yeah. They collate the information for you. It'll give you over a period of time. If you get 5, 10, 15, you can just leave them all in there. And actually, it has in the results, you can actually get little pie graphs of answers and stuff. So you can, at a glance, see, well, there's the answers to that one individual response. But globally, over the last 15 of these, that particular vendor is getting a skew to the no. So I need to really think about that. So it's a really simple thing to do.
Interesting. Yeah.
And you don't have to, you do it once, you set it up. Again, it's about automating so that you just send an email, say, hey, thanks so much for taking part in this particular treasure hunt. I'm really glad to have you as part of our family now. Would love some feedback so we can keep making these better for everybody. And look, some people will answer it, some people won't. If you can incentivize that a little bit, if you answer the survey, I'll give you 10% off your next one if you feel like you want to go down a discount road, whatever you want. But Google Doc survey, 5 to 6 questions, make it really simple. Tell them how long it's going to take to fill out in the email.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Just so it's survey. It's 6 questions. It'll take you less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's all sliding scales, whatever.
And
so
then,
that's one thing.
That then incentivizes. Well, that makes me want to think about the best ways to get the emails of the people I'm collaborating with.
Oh, so you're not collecting emails at the moment? Okay, so you need to collect emails because that becomes your future marketing base.
Yeah, right.
So sign up for, if nothing else, to start with MailChimp, because you can get up to 2,000 emails for free and do that. And
I have a funnel on my website Like,
Great.
it is there. You know, you want to join the society, put your name in.
So what are you storing that data in at the moment?
That's in Wix. So that's the website server. They have a form system set up, and it runs through something, I can't think, but there's a second-party software working in conjunction with Wix that holds all the emails, I believe.
So it's storing the data on your website server, essentially.
Yeah.
So you want to get those email addresses off onto some kind of CRM, like customer relationship management tool.
Yeah.
And MailChimp's an easy one to start with because it starts out free, up to 2,000 email addresses. There's a whole bunch of other ones like, ActiveCampaign and so many out there, Aweber and whatever, but most of them you've got to pay a monthly subscription fee.
Yeah.
So to start with, I'm on MailChimp at the moment because I haven't cracked 2,000 subscribers yet. I will reassess when I get to the point of having to pay. So that allows you then to send out a monthly update email to people. So when you're talking about providing value, being able to send out an update to previous customers and say, hey, here's a really... And what I'm doing with the email list for Small Crown Productions, specifically for the Theatre for Kids email addresses, is... Look, our show's not till September. So in the last set of school holidays, I sent out an email to parents saying, here's a whole bunch of things that you can do in the school holidays.
Great.
That aren't my show, but are going to be fun for the kids.
Yep.
And I did 2 of them that were themed, one for just theatre, and then actually one around science, because the NASA thing was being launched at the museum. So
clever.
Yeah, and
Nice.
so
That's
providing value.
Yeah,
That's it. And you can do the same thing. Hey, here's this thing that... you could do that. And if you've got, a little bit of an update once a month for now, you don't have to do it every week, but just stay in front of their mind so that you're providing value to them and not just going, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's something that would be fun for you or a value for you that I found. Here's a 10-minute treasure hunt. Send it to here. And here's a video I made explaining it if you want to watch that. And then click a link to your YouTube channel. So that kind of thing. So definitely do that. Get something happening there. Really simple to set up. And you can generally integrate that with your lead forms from your website. So any of those like Wix, WordPress, Squarespace, they will all have a mechanism where you can integrate through an API probably with MailChimp. So it will take those through and shove it in your MailChimp.
Cool. Well, that's a nice perspective because it's coming at a good time at the moment. So, last time we talked and I said I was on Patreon.
Yes.
I'm going to get off it. It was a fine experiment, but you know what? There's a fundamental feeling of like, one, I created a $1 tier, okay? So what I did is I took all of the people that could potentially be interested in my content and then cut them to people who will pay a $1 tier and people who are not in that tier. And so then my thinking is like, I've got to add value to my patrons, tiny group of people that must pay me to give them value. And
I think that's exactly what I said to you last time we talked about it. So
see, I was thinking, oh well, maybe it's another avenue of sales, or maybe like I can sort of, it's a shop disguised as a Patreon sort of thing. But it just, it didn't feel right. I don't feel comfortable saying like, can you please support my dream? No. It's like, no, I have a thing, here it is. Buy it or don't. Like, I don't care.
So we should do a whole separate thing about emails, but get yourself an email CRM. Really simple to set up, and set up a little template. Like, say you go into MailChimp, you can create a template email. And what I would like you to do is think about what are the things that if somebody contacted you that you could provide for them for money, right? So could somebody contact you and get you to create a personalised treasure hunt for them?
Yes.
Great. So in your email, you have, here's the information for this month. Here's the bit of value I'm adding to you. Here's how to incorporate treasure hunts into your everyday life. Here's how to make it fun for the kids, whatever. And you'll start to hone in who your market is as you do it.
Because you get feedback from that of who's opened it, hey?
Yes, that's right. All that's recorded. You can add tags. So if you've got people that have kids, you can add a tag to them that says children. You can create your own tags, and basically, so then you can send an email if it's about kids, something for kids, only to the people that you know have kids.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So you can segment it even further that way and make it really specific. So someone that doesn't have kids isn't getting an email about something to do with their kids, and they're I don't have kids, right? So you can segment that. So the ability that they have, and MailChimp over the last few years has been really building itself into a more robust CRM, which is actually really cool. So at the moment, as a free offer, it's pretty good, right? It's really good, and it's really well
good place to start.
Connected, yeah. But the other thing you just add in is you go, cool, thanks. Talk to you later, James. P.S. Whenever you are ready, and that's the important phrase. Here are some other things that I can help you with. Looking for a personalised treasure hunt? Click here. I can help you out. And they click it, and it goes to the web page on your website. That means that,
Okay,
so
I like that.
So what are the 2 or 3 offers that you've currently got that are permanently fixed? That if somebody rang you and said, could be birthday, it could be whatever, and you just have that as a permanent, what's called a super signature, because ultimately, when we're engaging people, more often than not, people are interested before they're ready.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
So you get them onto your email list while they're interested in what you're doing, which means that they're kind of pre-qualified as someone who will likely buy from you at some point.
Right. Yeah, you're already sort of selecting. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
so if they're willing to sign up to your email address, or they've been a previous customer, then they're kind of pre-qualified as a person who's going to spend money with you.
Yeah, right.
But you don't know when they're going to be ready to do that. And if you're thinking about this, which you are in the long term, then you have the ability to go, well, they might not be ready now. They might not be ready in 6 months. They might actually go, oh, my wife's 50th birthday is in 2 years.
Yeah.
That could be an amazing experience for her if we create this. So you might have somebody on your email list for 2 years who's getting a bit of value, getting some things that you're making them think about, how to incorporate it into somebody's special occasion. How do you create these things yourself?
Yeah.
And you're sort of going, you don't need me. You can do this.
Yeah.
You don't need me. You can, whatever it is that you're sending them.
Yeah.
But in the bottom is that always, whenever you're ready, here's some ways I can help you.
That's cool.
Special occasion coming up, want a site-specific treasure hunt? Give me a call. Want to be a member, want to be a guest on fictional reality?
Yeah.
Click this link.
Yeah,
and
right.
you get people coming on talking about whatever, So depending on who the audience is that you're there. But so that way, every time they get an email from you, the offer, the call to action is there for them to take whenever they are ready.
Yep.
And it removes that sense of having to be super salesy.
You're just filtering. You're just filtering to find that person out there who's got a boyfriend or a girlfriend's anniversary coming up and is looking for something
Kids
to do.
party, whatever.
And you're just like,
That's
I've got the thing. Who wants the thing?
It's that
Boom,
sense.
I want the thing.
Yes. And by doing that, you're kind of constantly staying top of mind for them. And you're not being pushy. You're going whenever you're ready. It's here. It's here. Don't forget I'm here. Don't forget I'm here.
Yep. Here's another treasure hunt. And I think that adding every subject line of the email is something I'm giving them.
Yeah. It's that. Yes. Yeah. Find a way for that subject line to be something that's engaging and enticing. And it's not about selling. It's never about selling. No. It's about how can I add some fun to your life. I mean, whatever it is that is the underpinning why for what you do, that sort of drives the emails.
Yeah.
Right, which is cool. And you can start by just doing that once a month, so that it's hard to get into a cycle. I've got an email list for the business of art, and I want to get to the point where I'm doing at least 2 weekly emails.
Right.
And I'm just not there yet. I'm not consistent. I'm not able to batch that fast enough, big enough in a go. So it's been 3 weeks, I think, since an email's gone out on my email list. I'm not going to beat myself up about that while I'm starting, but ultimately the goal is to do that regularly. And again, at the end of that, the offers are there. So don't feel like you have to do something weekly, if it's monthly, whatever.
You start where you can start.
Yep. So definitely do that. That's super important because that's building your audience base for the future. Okay. And the other thing I would suggest is get a survey out there as feedback to your audience for when they've had an experience, so you can get some. Essentially, you're doing market research on how it went. It's testing its results.
Yeah.
And then I would have like a one-pager, which is just a summary breakdown of what are the things that you want to document that will tell you what was good and what wasn't good, so that you've got that kind of review process at the end. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it helps you refine your product. It helps you really hone in. What are the important things what are the important measures for this to be successful?
Yeah.
They're the things that you're measuring. But then it also means that you have a backlog of review data so that when you start going to businesses later down the track, and they go, cool, so what are your results? You go, well, actually, what's really interesting is over the last 5 years, what we've seen is this. We've seen this trend. We've refined it in this way. And part of you can actually talk about data. You can actually talk about reviewing. You know, the information that you have actually in fixed terms, not anecdotal, not kind of, oh, well, you know, we kind of have this feeling about, it's like, no, what we've seen is these are the things that get us the best results. You know, so think about it in terms of what makes
I like that perspective. Yeah. That might just be the extra little carrot on the card there that makes me go, oh, actually, because the self-review process mixed in with that, well, you're also gathering data, and that can be really useful to look at.
If you go into a business and you're trying to sell this to them as an add-on to what they do, to get them on board as a sponsor, if you have the ability to go, here are my results, and here is what anecdotally we found from customer feedback. Here is the engagement results that we've had. Here are the social media results that we've seen from, you know, the Goma one, for instance, right? Because you want to know why that one went viral.
That's good. Scheduling some time into having that after the end of an event, I think sounds very valuable.
For me, it has to be built into my production plan.
Right.
So
very clever.
We do this, we build the thing, we do the thing, we wrap up the thing, we review the thing. It's always set. That's the process.
Would you recommend I have that process with the customer as well? Like if I design a treasure hunt for them and then I have in the thing of like, oh yeah, and like after the invoice we will just have one more last meeting as a bit of feedback, or I leave it for the automated MailChimp
It's up to you how you want to do it, and it's up to the relationship that you have with the customer. Some people might not want to have to spend the time sitting down and doing a review with you. The email is probably going to be best. But I think, you know, like a good story, foreshadowing that from the start as part of that process is a good thing. And go, hey, look, and the most important thing for us at the end of this is that we must get your feedback. We need it. We desperately need it. We're going to send you an email with a link to a Google survey. It'll have 5 questions. It'll take, 5 minutes to fill out. But that's going to help us really understand how to make this better and foreshadow it and tell them at the start that it's going to be something that you do at the end.
And I think where I'm at the moment, that conversation will be very good to have because I'm working with people I know personally. And so it's like, not only am I doing this sort of like giving you a nice price compared to what I one day want to be paid, but what I would love is your feedback from that.
And look, not everyone's going to fill it in, but the more you can get, the better it'll be. And the more that you can, you're going to do your own review anyway. Having that feedback from a customer is vital if you can get it, but not everyone will give it to you. But the option is there. It's systemated, it's automated. You don't need to think about it. It just goes out and it's there.
That's really good. That's some great food for thought, Paul.
Keep it simple. Awesome. There you go. James, love him. Hopefully that's... Is that still recording?
Great.
I don't know if that's still recording. We just had a little low battery thing come up on the camera, so hopefully that wasn't frozen. I'll go back, and if not, I'll put a little insert in there that tells what that little bit was about. So
cool.
Thank you so much for coming on The Business of Art.
Look, thank you, Paul. It's been
really
a pleasure.
Great to chat to you.
Likewise.
Check him out. I'll put in the description below all of the links to the Brisbane Treasure Hunt Society so you can check out what they're doing. Really doing amazing things, a lot of fun. Check them out, hook up, and go have some treasure hunt fun around where you are as well.
Cool. Hit me up and I'll catch you next time.
Awesome. Thanks. See you soon.